Okay, well, hi, how's everybody? Oh my goodness, I can't believe that. Yeah, apparently there's one more button to hit than I thought that there was. So that's fun. I've got dogs growling over there. I apologize for the very long wait. Honestly, I thought I was live and broadcasting, but I'm surprised that YouTube held it, to be honest. That's wild. Okay, that's that, and we have issues. Great, neato. Yeah, that's exactly what this is all about, Sean, and just trying to figure this stuff out. And so here's the deal: is in YouTube when you run through OBS is what yeah. I'm not used to using the control panel through OBS, and clearly I had one button that I hadn't pressed yet. So anyway, though, we'll be editing this a lot. Anyway, though, what I wanted to talk about, seeing how I just talked all that stuff about to myself, is that I wanted to talk to you guys about creativity. And see, here's the thing. Not necessarily is the creativity that we talk about the things that we already know. Sean, am I still live? Because this is telling me that I'm not even there anymore. I need to figure this out. YouTube actually is still showing me there. I don't know what's going on. Okay. You're still... Okay, thank you, Sean. I appreciate you. Okay. That's so weird. I'm going to have to do some testing on that stuff. Because the control panel through OBS is just... less than stellar. All right. Well, thank you guys for helping me let me know what's going on. So I'm going to just go forward with this because why not? And that was the plan. Because at least now I know I am going. So it's all good, right? I don't know. I can't believe that. I mean, you'd think that I had a clue how to do this stuff. I do it all the time, but not. I don't usually do direct to YouTube through OBS. I usually have a streaming agent that I go through, a multi-streamer, and I know what it looks like, and this is not it. I guarantee you. I won't be doing this way again. Either way, though, what I wanted to share with you guys today is that when I talk about creativity, see, this channel, creativity, is my emphasis. And it's my emphasis because it's so important that we are able to do something with our minds, our hands, whatever. I mean, it doesn't even have to be fiber arts. Like I actually just was talking about tablet weaving. I started doing a tablet weaving. I'm going to see if this actually worked, because it was kind of cool the way it was working when I thought I was actually doing something. So I was creating this strap through tablet weaving. Now, here's the thing. I'd never tablet weaved before in my life. And what I did was mostly wrong. I can tell you. That's the thing, is just because when we're trying to create something, you don't have to get it right. You got to start from somewhere. I mean, seriously, I just talked about the fact that even doing this live, clearly I didn't get it right. And I've been doing live stuff for years, just not this way. it is what it is. It does prove to show that when you figure it out, you might get there, though. And I have just figured out using the interface that OBS puts through to YouTube is a bad idea. At least for me. I know the other one. I'm good with it. So, it's like this tablet weaving. It's the same aspect. Right here. Truly botched the pattern. See, here's the thing. The pattern is actually supposed to look like this. Let's see if you're on camera. There we go. It's supposed to look like that. There's only probably 4 sections in this entire thing that look like that. Now, granted, after once I figured out the problem I was having, up here, I figured out the problem I was having. I could not, for the life of me, remember whether I was going forward or backward. So in tablet weaving, you have forward turns of cards and back turns of cards. And I mean by cards, all the threads go through these things that are called cords. I'm trying to make sure I'm on camera. And you turn them according to the pattern. My problem is this old person's brain. I'm not even that old, by the way, y'all. Seriously. Could not remember whether I was in a forward cycle or a backward cycle. So, but guess what? I still got a product out of it. It's still a usable product. And I'll remember for the rest of my life how I had to figure out how to hack my brain on this. Because what I ended up doing is grabbing a clamp. And when I was in a forward cycle, I clamped the thing onto by the way, I created this too. And it actually fits right on my rigid heddle loom. But so in the future, as I'm doing tablet weaving, as the threads and stuff are going on, I literally just clamp when I'm in a forward cycle, because I know how it works now. It's about learning to do things as you need to. And staving off dementia is a great idea while you're at it, because we have to continue to. So I'm 55, Sean. That was Debbie. Yeah, I'm 55, and so like I said, I'm not that old. Especially if you consider dog years, because these guys add up. They're higher than I am. They're higher in years than I am. Especially Sage, my old one down here. But yeah, so like I said, there's the reality is the more we go out there and figure out how to create something, the more we also get the opportunity to have things cross over in knowledge. Like, for instance, I learned on the tablet weaving when I was working through it that I did not like the way the inkle loom worked. I didn't like the tensions it was creating. I didn't like the fact that it was limiting me on the distance that I was trying to work with. I'm on an updraft or on an up shed here with this pattern. And there we go. And so I'm just gonna do that. Another pick and a down shed. This is just rigid heddle weaving. But anyway, the point is that when I was doing the tablet weaving, I figured out that I didn't like the inkle loom. Now, inkle looms are great for it, don't get me wrong. Inkle looms are great for it. I just didn't care for it. It makes it very portable, but I don't know, maybe it's because I didn't exactly get the highest end of inkle looms and it wanted to slip on me and stuff like that. I don't know. But what I do know is that I didn't care for it. So I figured out what I needed was something to support the work in the front area and have a stand. That's why that little brace thing, and it actually slips right into my rigid heddle loom, and then because as we work with this, you'll find that it has a cranking, so you can crank back, and basically you release this side because this is where all the yarn is stored up, and as your finished product reels down on this side. So that's how that works. And it can work the same way with tablet weaving. Now, if I wasn't trying to create different things and learn new stuff, I'd have never figured that out. Not to mention figured out a way to go make myself a brace to where I can actually do something different with it. No idea. So, here's the thing, is that when I got through with that, I showed it off. Because this is nice hard wood. Let me go back to the other camera real quick. It's nice hardwood. I sanded it down nicely so that the yarns and threads would not be catching on it and stuff. And it sits right into my rigid heddle loom, so that way I can do tablet weaving and be very portable about it, because you don't have to leave them cranked on. See, the ancient times of tablet weaving, they actually used to tie all of their threads like to a wall or a tree and then tie it to their belts. But quite frankly, my life changes too much, and not to mention keeping up with 3 dogs, the farm, and all this stuff. There's no way that I can tie myself to a wall and make that work. That's just not a thing. Okay, so when I do these things, I create a system to my mind. For instance, that was an upshed. So when that yarn is coming out the left side, I know my next one is a downshed. That way I'm not trying to figure out, wait a minute, which one it is, and then figure out which one, where my thread is, up or down, and figuring all that stuff out. Because when you do those kind of things, you create systems, especially when you do things like try to have a conversation and weave at the same time, which is not one of my more brilliant ideas in life. But I figured it was something that you guys could see, even though it is black. However, I mean, black never shows up on camera well. However, I am trying. So I'm going to beat that and go back to my upshed. This is going to be so cozy, y'all. So cozy. So cozy. But I do want to see if there is... Oh, yes. There was something else that I wanted to mention to you all. As I said, just because I'm talking fiber arts and things like that, y'all, creativity doesn't need to be fiber arts. It can be whatever works for you. Whatever works for you. It could be... It could be journaling. It could be doodling. Anything that you are doing something to change the status of the thing. It could be just working on a recipe that you haven't done before, and you have to think it out a little bit. Or it could be like me, actually trying to remember how I did the thing that that I did before and everybody liked it, and I didn't write a darn thing down. I do that a lot. So that's neutral. We're going to go to the downshed, I think. There we go. But yeah, I mean, I really do like the fiber arts. However, I also really like leather work. You guys are going to be seeing a great deal more of that on my channel. Mostly because of the fact that, well, I've got to get... Part of my challenge is that over where my desk area is, I absolutely getting fit, totally pajama granny. Getting fit is just as much creativity, because not only are you looking at the things that you need to do exercise wise, but you're also having to interpret them for what your body needs. getting fit is hugely important. And quite honestly, if we're not doing that, then we're doing a disservice to ourselves. I'm just trying to maintain my farm. It actually works out, especially with all this ice. Y'all, I hurt so bad just trying to walk. I've got cleats on my shoes. And then I know many of you are actually across the country, like Arizona, Washington area, and you guys didn't get diddly. Lucky you, because we've got 3 inches of ice and 6 inches of snow. So I'm in Maryland, by the way. And we have ice. I've been trying to feed animals going down stairs that are literally an ice slope. And trying to keep my dogs from rolling right into the pasture through the fence line. Yeah. Not what I call fun. But that yet again I had to figure out how in the world oh, so Sunny Cal, this is a bulky yarn, yes. In fact, I think this is, I want to say a 5 weight, 5 bulky. And I've actually done a couple of hats, but I don't think, so you can see how much there is, how bulky that is. Honestly, I don't think this will run through a circular knitter. Now, crochet or knit by hand or loom knit absolutely will work. But yeah, this, I think the circular knitter will turn itself into knots. Now, and I think even with the silicone earplug hack that we talked about, I don't think it'll work. Now, to do it by hand, absolutely. In fact, I have done, I don't think I have it here anymore. I have done just a regular beanie with this, and it turned out beautifully. But it was pretty taut. I mean, taut as in dense. It was pretty dense. So, I don't think this would run on a circular knitter. However, though, I will run that as an experiment to see what happens, though, because why not, right? Right? Yeah. Yeah, the silicone earplug hack. I tell you what, y'all. I put out a couple of shorts on that because, you know what's funny? I was teaching some people in my guild kind of how to make sure that they got a good start with the circular knitter. And I told them to put the silicone earplugs on their machines. But did I put it on mine? No, I didn't. And then I started, literally, I did a comparison video. And it humbled me. Because majority of the yarns that I put on the downward list of that comparison video, I need to edit that thing, put that document out there on there with it edited, because with the exception of these bulky yarns like this, or something that's very that has been spun with like a thread in it, you're not gonna. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. There's only so much I can do about that. But with the exception of yarns that are either too big or simply have such an uneven texture, most stuff will run if you have the silicone earplugs. Even the really I don't want to call it cheap. The Red Heart stuff that's really scratchy. Yeah, that stuff will even run. You got to kind of run it a little slower because the texture keeps the threads from falling down the pins. So that does cause some issues. I really am glad that I have a muscle memory for this, because I don't think I could weave and talk at the same time. There's no way otherwise. Now, granted, I'll be honest with you, I have not dressed a loom to do something probably in months, until I decided to go ahead and do something. Oh, there went my white, and it'll be out of reach. Don't want that to happen. There we go. Shall we see what the color looks like? I thought we might want to do that. Let's see what some color looks like. Okay, so that's got to be on a downward shed. All right. Let's see. I'm curious what the color is going to look like. Because, I mean, I had this idea. That doesn't mean it's brilliant. I just thought it might look really kind of cool and definitely be different. I do need to reel this down, though, so it has some walking room. Okay, there's a little bit of green in there. Bring my end around, give it a little tuggy so it stays even. And then remember when I was talking about the cranks on these and how that works. So basically you just pull that down. And then you taut this. You want your threads to be good and taut. I'm not talking about breaking, just have an evenness to them. All right. There we go. So that's, and let's see what some color is going to look like. See, I'm intrigued with this one too. That's part of the reason why I decided to do it, because I wanted to see what it looked like, and then I figured I could share that. Although normally watching weaving is kind of like watching paint dry, unless you're doing it. Because seriously, most of the time I'm watching TV do this. What do you think? Okay, because this is a pretty quickly changing variegated. Do we think it's going to work? Or shall I stay with gray and white? Because I can unpick this and undo it, but I think the spots of color might be okay. What do we think? Yeah, Sunny Cal, thank you for letting me know. I think I like it. And then when we add in all these other colors, so I'm thinking maybe like 6 or 7 picks of color, and then stay, and then hit the white, and then back to gray. I don't know. Yeah, because I mean seriously, because the rest of my color scheme, I don't know, I'll be honest with you, I can't remember whether or not I was actually live when I talked about this or not. Now that we've had to deal with that part. See, check this out. Oh, back on camera. It's a leopard print minky. That's what the other side of this pillow is going to be. This is actually I'm weaving for one side of a pillow. Leopard print minky. Now, does that say weird to you? I mean, yeah, it's weird. I totally understand that, but what it is though is snuggly. It's so snuggly. All right, let's see if we can get a little bit more color going on. So I see that we have a Sunny Gal said that she likes to crochet. So do we have any other projects of things that people do that's maybe not computer related? I mean, granted, I'm not saying that if it's on a computer it doesn't count, because it absolutely does count, by the way. My challenge is this. I'm just going to share this with you real quick. I do a lot of websites. When I do a website, it's altogether fine. It's great. I mean, yay. You would think that mine would be actually up and going, but it's not. And It's because I have so many other ones that I am trying to keep up, to be honest. But you can only see one page at a time. That is my biggest problem with website situations, is that you don't get to see much. You may have spent hours and hours and hours creating a beautiful thing and make it to where all this information is out there and all these people can see this stuff and things. But you can only see one page at a time. And when you turn off the computer, it's gone. I'm not saying it's gone as in it's not there anymore. I'm saying that's done. That's the reason why, because of the fact that I had to do so many websites at one time, that I had to get back into the text, to the creativity thing, and really put an emphasis on it. There's a couple people in the audience today that know I actually started YouTube doing a WordPress channel. And then one day, when I realized that I have got all 3 dogs right here under my feet. I don't know if you guys can see that at all, but yeah, a little bit. Not fun. And I just hope they don't get in an argument like they usually do. Guys, go. Go. Please. Go. Go. But so I started my channel, my personal channel. I've actually maintained a few of them. Doing WordPress, teaching people WordPress. But what it did is it caused me to when the ones that I needed to do that I was actually supposed to do for other people and such, contracts and such, I didn't want to do them anymore. Because every time I did something in their, on their site, I felt like I needed to be capturing it because I was constantly doing things that are different. And so I felt like I needed to be capturing it and sharing it, which was causing me problems getting work done because I didn't want to. I didn't want to do the capturing because anytime that you're doing that, it always takes longer to get the thing done. So one day I was sitting out in my my husband's shop, and he was working on something or other, and I was dilly-dinking around brainstorming on something. And I thought to myself, you know what? I do not like WordPress YouTube. Don't like it. Now, do I use it all the time? Other people's? Yeah, I do. But creating it, I hated it. I literally sat there in that shop and deleted the entire thing. I felt so much better. I was like, okay, now what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Because it just, but then I thought so I did end up getting involved with a group, it's from Think Media, it's the VRA program, Video Ranking Academy. Shout out to those guys. One of them actually might have been listening for it tonight, I don't know. Anyway, and I realized if I go through that program and actually do the thing, I'll figure out what I need to do. One of the pieces of advice that they wanted us to do, though, that I have not followed worth a hoot, is they kind of want you to niche down a little bit. But here's the thing. This is what I figured out, y'all. I did niche down. I niched down to creativity. I do the things that inspire either me, or I look at something that inspires somebody else, or I just do the things. I did niche down. I niched down to learning things and doing things and figuring things out. And there's a bunch of channels out there that do exactly that and that are growing nicely. Now, granted, could they be bigger if they didn't niche down further? I don't know. How do we predict that? So that was my big wake-up call, is realizing that I still wanted to do YouTube. I want to be able to share the hacks that I come out with. And the things that I figure out, like pull on that in just a little bit to keep that edge from coming in. You notice my edges aren't terribly crooked. They're actually reasonably straight. It's because I give that just a smidgen of a tug. And then I roll that on. Now, is this thread a little easier to keep things straight? Yeah, it actually really is, because it's very, very tacky. In other words, it binds to itself. But sharing the things that I learn, creativity-wise, is far more fun than technology to me. Sharing the technology. Now, at some point, am I going to be doing a blog and doing stuff like that? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Either way, I feel a lot better about my world of the things that are going on, and keeping a great balance on the stuff I have to do at home. The things that I do a lot of volunteer work. I have multiple. I have stuff I do for the church. I've got the guild that I do things for, and I have a couple clients that I still do websites for. And so I still have a lot of that. But this is the kind of things that keep me sane doing it. Because I can put my hands to do something, even when it's not right. And like I said, like even when I'm learning how to spin fiber. And by the way, this is not well spun. This was me figuring out that gravity was friendlier than a single treadle spinning wheel. And soon, maybe, I don't know, lives are hard, by the way. I will be doing some lives spinning yarn because I'm working on it. But that takes a lot of focus for me. Way more focus than I have the ability to do. I couldn't do it over here like this. In fact, I think the next time I ever do a live, I think I pretty much promised myself that you guys normally see me over at my other table, where I do most of my cutting and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I'm going to have to put all my tech and stuff and just do what it takes to do over there. Along with not using the YouTube control panel on OBS, because that bit me. Oh, well. We live and learn. We do. We learn these things, and we keep going. But here's the thing. What I want you guys to remember, if you take nothing else away from this whole conversation, is that when we need to go do a thing, in our heart and our mind keeps on thinking about, oh, I wish I could do that. Y'all, do it. Go look it up. Go figure out a little thing. Go figure out how to do this thing. I mean, I told myself when I started doing weaving, I joined a guild so I could learn. I told myself I will never be a spinner. Why in the world do I need to spin? Well, here I am. I mean, I get this funky spinning wheel that did not work out all that great. Turns out that it really is a great plying wheel, by the way. I'm not going to say the brand because that probably wouldn't do it any favors, but there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just not good at it. And then turn around and figure out that, guess what? I do have a little control over gravity. So drop spindling is what I decided to do. Yeah, I will be crazy enough. I don't really like this drop spindle because it doesn't have a groove in it. But literally a drop spindle, what you're doing is, you see how that's kind of fuzzy? Is you literally spin it. That's how it works. Is you're spinning the yarn and then you roll it up onto your spindle and then you move that spin up into the next piece of fluffy yarn. That's how that works. And as you get good at it, you can literally let that go all the way down and all that stuff. And sooner or later, though, you guys will be seeing me on my, I got a Kiwi 3. And I'm a little bit better there, but not a lot. I was told to spend 10 minutes a day and I'll be able to do well. But this, I needed something I could put down and do, because I've got to maintain my mouse, I've got to maintain all this other stuff, and because here's reality. When we go to create something, it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, is most of the time it's not going to be. You don't really stand much chance of making it perfect, unless you've already done it a bunch of times. I think we already know that, right? It's not going to be perfect until we have done it enough to make it perfect. But you got to start someplace. So maybe that's a thing for you, is maybe try a different pattern than you've done before. Maybe show off what you have done, and so you can get inspired to do more. Who knows? Using your hands to do the thing, whatever gives you that calmness that you've created, whether that's doodling, I can think of just multiple different things. Like I said, I like to do, I mean, if you were to look around my shop, and it's one of these days when I do another live, I'll probably put a camera to where it literally just traces me, and you're going to see how eclectic my brain is, because I have stations all over my room. You just happen to see this one because this is where my computer's at. Because I do think the next time I do it, I'm going to be over at my table, and that way I can, one, jump up and show you things, but to be able to actually show you mistakes, successes, and you're going to find that it's not going to be all fiber arts either. In fact, I want to say more than half of the stuff I do is not fiber arts. Sewing, I think you guys have already seen. I mean, if you've seen much of my videos, you're going to see that I sew. You're going to start to see leather work coming off. You're going to start seeing spinning, which is obviously fiber arts, but that's going to be different. And I'm really struggling at that, by the way. I'm doing the best I can. Now, is it bummering me that I'm not getting better at it faster? Well, yes, it is. But does that mean that I'm going to stop doing it? No, I'm not. Because I have a vision of being able to spin, listen to music, and just share some of that with you guys. That's why I want to do it. I don't even know what I'm going to do with the yarn. I'll make something, I'm sure. I have no idea. But that's the whole point, though, is I want you to be thinking about the things that you would like to create. Can you think about the things that you want to create? And then maybe, of course, many of you are in an area that doesn't have an ice storm right now. And you can actually go get the things. Or maybe just pull that box out of your closet and go work on the thing that you put aside a year ago. Yeah. I've been looking at the chat real quick because it's just, you know what's funny is it's just out of my focal range. I've got to remedy that. So, if nothing else, I think you guys have figured out. I'm all about trying to help others to go try a thing, do a thing, create a thing. Because we never get to move forward in any of our inspirations if we don't try. You got to step out of the boat, y'all. So I want to thank those people that have been able to make it on, and I have a couple of good friends and a subscriber and that have joined me on my escapade and nevertheless stuck through 20 minutes of not even being there when I was supposed to be there. I really appreciate that, because clearly I had no idea what I was doing. Or at least not with this software the way I was using it. So I'm going to continue with this. I've got let's see if I really need to figure that out. I'm going to come up with white, and then I'm going to start again with gray, and see, I might make it a little bit thinner on the next ones depending on how the colors flow. We'll see. But either way, I'm going to post that when I get a finished product, and so you guys can see what actually transpired and how crazy it actually was. So I really do very much appreciate y'all coming along for the ride, and hopefully you can get a chance to go grab the things that you've been thinking about you want to do, even if it's journaling, something. Just go grab the things and make it happen. Give yourself 10-15 minutes to try to do the thing that you want to do. Because we only live once, y'all. So make it worthwhile. And I think I'm out of here. We shall talk to you all soon. I really need to work on cameras here.